What's up, everybody? Welcome to Easy Dishes, where today we'll be looking at whole wheat dinkel bread. First, we're going to take some fresh yeast, about 45 grams, put them into a bowl, cover them with warm water, stir them together, and let them sit for a minute. Don't forget to add about 2 teaspoons of sugar here, but you can do it later, it won't be a big problem. Next up, we're going to take about 300 grams of dinkel whole wheat flour, 200 grams of wheat flour, all-purpose will work fine. Add a pinch of salt. There I go, add the sugar to the yeast. Stir it together again. And add the yeast water to the flour mixture. Stir it all together for a bit until small lumps form. Add about 200 to 250 milliliters of warm water to the dough. This really depends on how much water you added to the yeast. And stir it all together. Scrape off the fork and start kneading the dough with your hands until a very cohesive ball of dough forms. If it's too dry, add more water. If it's too wet, just add more flour. I think I went with a little too much water here, but that won't be a big problem. Just keep kneading the dough, adding flour, adjusting it as necessary until you have a very cohesive ball. When that's done, you can pick up the ball, form a little ball of dough with a very smooth surface, and plop it in, cover it with plastic wrap, and let it sit for about half an hour to 45 minutes or until doubled in size. When that is done, take off the plastic wrap and yet again knead the dough for an extra 5 minutes or until you have a very smooth ball again. Come on, get your hands dirty. Just go and get in there. Alright. Scrape off everything you have inside the bowl. And this time we can even take out the dough and knead it a little on the countertop. Just gently press it down in between your hands. Don't fold it on top of itself. If it's too wet, you can add a little extra flour. Just dust your surface and roll it in there. Make sure it doesn't stick to your hands. We want it a little tacky but not too sticky. Get off the flour surface. And now we want to let it rise again for about 20 minutes or until 3/4 of its original size. We can either do that in the bowl where we had it first, or we use a baking tray covered with paper, which I would personally recommend. Just plop it in there. Cover it with plastic wrap, same one as we used before, minimum waste. And there we go. Take off the plastic wrap, take out a baking tray covered in flour, and put it on there. Take a very sharp knife and add a few shallow cuts on the surface. Just like that. You want it a little deep, not too deep. Just gonna go by feel. Next up, we're going to take a brush and brush a little water on top of the bread. After that, we take the bread and put it into the center of a 230 degrees Celsius oven, along with a mug full of water for about 35 to 40 minutes. The bread is done when it sounds hollow on the inside. Perfect. Put the bread back down and let it cool off completely. After that, we can finally cut it open and see how it looks on the inside. Just get some pieces out there, just as I wanted. And now, enjoy your bread.